Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Sunlight streamed through the windows, casting a soft, delicate glow across Lisa's room, dancing upon the shades of her vibrant wardrobe. Tom sat there, perched on the edge of her plush, bubblegum pink bed, stealing glances at the symphony of fabrics that hung there. He eyed the dresses, the skirts, and even the soft pastel blouses, each one whispering a silent, enchanting invitation. Lisa, blissfully unaware, was focused on their shared laptop, her fingers softly tapping away as they worked together on a small project. Her voice, gentle and bright, twirled around the room, occasionally pulling Tom's attention back to the task at hand. His eyes flicked between the screen and the wardrobe, an internal tug-of-war that lasted several prolonged moments. Tom's gaze lingered on a particular dress, a pale pink one with small, delicate roses patterned across it. Its soft nylon seemed to sway ever so slightly in a non-existent breeze, almost as if it was calling out to him. He imagined the sensation of the fabric against his skin, the gentle cascade of the material down his frame, and his heart fluttered with a hidden yearning. "Tom! Earth to Tom!" Lisa's voice pierced through his daydream, causing him to startle slightly. He snapped his eyes back to her, cheeks heating with a gentle blush, praying she hadn't noticed where his attention had been. Lisa, however, had caught the tail end of his distant stare, her eyes darting back and forth between Tom and her clothes. An amused smirk played at the edges of her lips, but she kept her tone light and playful. "Lost in thought, are we?" "A bit," Tom admitted sheepishly, quickly trying to steer the conversation away from dangerous waters. "Just daydreaming, you know?" Lisa didn't press it further, but filed the observation away in her mind. She had seen that distant, wistful look in Tom's eyes before, often when they were near clothing stores or when she was getting ready to go out. A flicker of a thought passed through her mind, but she brushed it aside, opting instead to refocus on their work. But Lisa's playful spirit wouldn't let the moment slide entirely. As they wrapped up their project, she leaned back, stretching her arms and letting out a relaxed sigh before turning to Tom with a cheeky grin. "You know, if you like them so much, you could try one on." Tom's heart skipped a beat, a flood of emotions washing over him. Was she serious? Was she mocking him? His mouth went dry, words stalling in his throat. "What do you mean?" he managed to stammer out, trying to laugh it off. "I don't think your clothes are really my style, Lisa." Lisa's smirk softened into a gentle smile. She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I think they might be, you know. I've seen the way you look at them, Tom. It's okay, really." Tom's eyes widened, vulnerability flashing through them. His secret, which he'd hidden behind layers of casual masculinity and playful dismissals, teetered on the edge of exposure. Lisa, watching his face, wondered if she'd pushed him too far, but there was a part of her that wanted to give him permission, to offer him a safe space if he wanted it. The room seemed to pause, holding its breath as Tom grappled with the moment. His heart raced in his chest, thoughts spiraling and crashing into one another. He wanted to. Oh, how he wanted to dive into that wardrobe and let the fabrics envelop him in their soft embrace. However, Tom shook his head, his voice barely audible. "I'm okay, Lisa, really." Lisa reached out, placing a gentle hand on his. "Whenever you're ready, Tom, if ever, okay?" Tom nodded, a lump forming in his throat. He brushed it off with a final chuckle, but inside a door had creaked open just a smidge, allowing a sliver of light to seep into a part of him that had only known darkness. And while he wasn't ready to step through it just yet, knowing it was there, knowing Lisa might understand, it meant the world to him. Weeks melted into one another, each day blending into the next, until Lisa's birthday party arrived, a lively celebration filled with friends, music, and playful cheers in her modest apartment. There, in the midst of joyous celebration, with heartbeats synchronizing to the rhythm of the music, Tom found himself once again enchanted by the allure of Lisa's clothes. This time, not in the sanctuary of her room, but through the soft sway of her purple ankle-length dress as she moved through the crowd, her laughter lilting above the ambient noise of the party. Tom sat quietly on a plush chair in the corner, sipping on his soda, his eyes intermittently shifting towards Lisa. The internal commotion that had stirred within him weeks prior remained, tucked away, yet persistent. He found himself pondering over it, over Lisa's quiet acceptance and the silent offer that lingered in her gentle words. Lisa, sensing his distant gaze, sauntered over, her dress whispering softly against her legs and her eyes shimmering with a mixture of curiosity and playful mischief. "Penny for your thoughts?" she queried, perching herself beside him. Tom's eyes flickered up, meeting hers, and he shook his head lightly. "Just enjoying the party, Lisa." She didn't prod, recognizing the tender vulnerability that lurked behind his casual demeanor. Instead, she nudged him gently with her shoulder. "Want to make it a bit more interesting?" Intrigued and somewhat relieved at the change of subject, Tom tilted his head. "How so?" Lisa's lips curled into a mischievous grin. "Truth or dare?" Tom chuckled, the childlike innocence of the proposition pulling a soft smile across his lips. "Are we 12 again?" Maybe," she winked, "but I promise to make it worth your while." With a shake of his head and a lightness in his spirit, Tom acquiesced. "All right, truth or dare?" "Dare," Lisa responded promptly, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. A playful twinkle sparked in Tom's eyes. "I dare you to speak in rhymes for the rest of the evening." Lisa erupted into a cascade of giggles, accepting the challenge with a nod. "From this moment and into the night, I'll make my words take a rhyming flight." Their playful game continued, each dare growing slightly bolder, slightly more audacious, yet all within the bounds of good-natured fun. However, when Lisa's turn came around once again, her eyes locked with Tom's, and she voiced the dare that lingered on the brink of his hidden desires. "Tom, I dare you to don one of my dresses." A silent gasp wafted through the nearby observers, all eyes turning towards Tom, whose heart now hammered wildly against his ribcage. His cheeks blossomed into a soft, nervous red, and his mouth opened, yet words failed him. He was caught, ensnared in a moment he'd dreamt of, yet feared in equal measure. Lisa, sensing his trepidation, leaned in, her voice a gentle whisper only for him. "You don't have to, Tom. It's all in good fun." But Tom, amidst the chaotic cascade of his heartbeat and the heat creeping across his skin, found a splinter of courage. Perhaps it was the atmosphere or the gentle assurance in Lisa's eyes, or maybe the latent desire that had lingered within him for so long. Whatever it was, it propelled him to his feet, his voice scarcely more than a whisper yet resolute. "Okay." A mixture of cheers and surprised gasps wafted through the room as Lisa took Tom's hand, leading him towards her bedroom, away from the curious eyes and into a sanctuary of discovery. Tom's hands trembled ever so slightly, and as the door clicked shut behind them, he exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Surrounded by the delicate fragrances and colors of Lisa's wardrobe, Tom felt a mixture of emotions cascade through him. Excitement, fear, apprehension, and a flicker of liberating joy. His eyes danced over the various dresses, each one presenting a different narrative, a different version of the self he had yet to know. "Pick whatever you want, Tom. And remember, this is just for fun, okay? No pressure." Lisa's voice was a comforting melody amidst the storm of his thoughts. Tom nodded, his fingers gently grazing over the nylon materials until they rested upon a soft, sea-green dress. Its gentle fabric seemed to call out to him, offering a whisper of the freedom he had yearned for. "This one," he murmured. Lisa, respecting the gravity of the moment, simply nodded, assisting Tom with gentle hands and a kind heart as they navigated through the unfamiliar yet exciting journey of his transformation. As the dress slipped over his form, a soft sigh escaped from between Tom's lips, his heart fluttering amidst a sea of newfound emotions. The gentle rustle of nylon whispered around Tom, the sea-green dress cascading down his frame like a tender waterfall of color. He stood motionless for a moment, absorbing the delicate sensation, his reflection in Lisa's full-length mirror presenting a visage of him that felt both foreign and intimately familiar. His eyes, wide with a mixture of apprehension and awe, traced the soft contours the dress created, while his hands, ever so slightly trembling, smoothed down the fabric, allowing himself to absorb and dwell in the novel sensations. Lisa, observing silently from a respectful distance, allowed him the space to acclimate, her heart quietly swelling at the mixture of vulnerability and bravery etched across his features. When Tom's eyes met hers through the mirror, a silent understanding passed between them, one that needed no words, no affirmations. This was a space of safety, of discovery, unmarred by external judgments. Moving with delicate intention, Lisa opened a drawer, her fingers gently sifting through an array of wigs, each one offering a different persona, a different shade of the story Tom was beginning to explore. "Would you like to try one?" she asked softly, her voice threading gently through the room. Tom, swallowing the lump that had formed in his throat, nodded, his voice a mere whisper. "Yes." With a gentle smile, Lisa selected a wig of soft, chestnut waves, its strands cascading down to just below shoulder length. She stepped closer, carefully placing it upon Tom's head, adjusting the strands to frame his face, transforming his reflection further into the unknown territory he had longed to explore. The reflection in the mirror now showcased a person caught between worlds, the masculine and the feminine, entwined in a delicate dance of identity and expression. Tom lifted a hand, fingers brushing through the synthetic strands, his eyes misting with unshed tears. It was a moment of collision, where fear met desire, where hidden truths brushed against the light of reality. Sensing the silent turmoil within him, Lisa gently placed a hand on his shoulder, her voice a gentle anchor in the storm of emotions swirling within him. "It's okay to feel, Tom. Whatever it is, it's okay." Tom's eyes, glistening with tears, lifted to meet hers in the mirror, a thank you whispered without words. He turned, facing her, the dress swaying gently with his movement. Can we try a bit of makeup?" Lisa nodded, her movements gentle and considerate as she selected a palette of soft, neutral colors and began the tender application of makeup. The brush, soft against his skin, painted gentle strokes of color across his eyelids, while eyeliner subtly accentuated the shape of his eyes, transforming them into soft, expressive pools. A subtle blush warmed his cheeks, and a gentle pink graced his lips, completing the transformation that had begun with the dress. As Lisa stepped back, allowing Tom to observe himself, a silence enveloped the room, punctuated only by the gentle hum of the party continuing beyond the closed door. Tom gazed at his reflection, eyes tracing over each detail, absorbing the person who gazed back at him, a person who had existed in shadows, now brought into gentle light. His voice, when it broke through the silence, was tinged with a delicate tremor. "I look beautiful." "You are," Lisa affirmed, her hand finding his, inside and out. Tom turned toward her. A soft smile curled his lips, the first genuine, unabated smile in perhaps too long. "Thank you, Lisa, for understanding. For this." Lisa's response was a gentle squeeze of his hand, her smile a mirror of his own. "Friends help each other be their true selves, Tom. Whenever you're ready and however you want to explore this, I'm here." Arm in arm, they stood there, suspended in a moment where truths were honored and identities respected. Together, they lingered on the precipice of discovery, ready to navigate whatever lay ahead with understanding, respect, and unwavering friendship. Holding on to each other, Tom and Lisa lingered on the threshold of her bedroom door, the sounds of the party, muffled but lively, wafting through the wood. Tom, draped in the gentle cascade of the sea-green dress and adorned with the subtle elegance of the makeup and wig, felt a tumultuous storm of emotions vying for dominance within him. There was exhilaration, fear, liberation, and a soft, pulsating anxiety that fluttered within his chest like a caged bird, eager yet hesitant to spread its wings. Lisa, sensing his internal struggle, squeezed his hand gently, her eyes locking with his. "No matter what happens out there, remember, you're beautiful and valued." Tom, absorbing her words, felt a subtle strength seep into him. Drawing in a deep, steadying breath, he nodded, and together they stepped out of the sanctuary of the room, re-entering the lively milieu of the party. The response was, as expected, mixed. Whispers began to cascade through the room like a gentle breeze rustling through the leaves. Amidst the whispering, there were a few scattered giggles, a couple of widened eyes, and surprisingly, a few compliments were thrown into the mix. Tom, though initially bracing for rejection, felt a strange serenity enveloping him. There was an inexplicable freedom in casting aside the mask he'd worn for so long, revealing to the world a glimpse of his true self. A guy from their group, Mark, approached, a grin on his face, yet his eyes held a gentle kindness. "Well, I must say, I never expected this, but you look great, Tom." Tom, surprised and somewhat relieved at the response, managed a shy but grateful smile. "Thank you, Mark." The evening unfurled with Tom at the epicenter of a myriad of interactions. Some sought to understand, asking questions with genuine curiosity, while others struggled to mask their discomfort, choosing instead to distance themselves or converse in hushed, surreptitious whispers, casting occasional glances in his direction. Yet, amidst the varied responses, Tom found an unexpected, liberating joy. With each passing moment, the apprehension that had once tightly coiled within him began to unravel, replaced by a growing confidence and a subtle internal affirmation of his identity. He chatted, laughed, and even danced, the nylon of his dress swishing around him, providing a constant reminder of the step he'd taken towards authenticity. Lisa, ever the supportive friend, remained steadfastly by his side, her presence a reassuring anchor amidst the turbulent sea of societal expectation and normative constraints. And as they danced, lost in the melody of the music and the liberation of self-expression, Tom felt a sense of belonging, not to the expectations and norms that had once confined him, but to himself, and to the narrative that had for so long remained silently etched within him. As the evening wound down and the guests began to disperse, a gentle tranquility settled upon the room, a stark contrast to the lively ebullience that had permeated the space just hours before. Tom, now seated on the couch, felt a gentle fatigue enveloping him, the emotional and physical exertions of the evening catching up with him. Lisa, settling down beside him, gently draped an arm around his shoulders. "You okay?" Tom, turning towards her, his eyes reflecting the vulnerability that lingered beneath the surface, nodded. "I am? It was ... It was more than I ever imagined, Lisa." The conversation that unfolded was hushed and gentle, a sharing of experiences, fears, and the subtle, blossoming joy of acceptance. Tom shared with soft words and silent tears the liberation he'd felt and the fears that had clung to him even amidst the acceptance. And Lisa, she listened, truly listened, offering not just her ears, but her heart, understanding and unwavering support, knowing that the journey ahead for Tom was bound to be both beautifully liberating and challengingly intricate. In the quiet that followed the party, life resumed its ordinary rhythm, weaving through days and nights with a deceptive calm that masked the silent turbulence lingering beneath the surface. Tom moved through his days, the memories of that evening both a gentle caress and a shadow, a reminder of the self he'd allowed a brief respite into the light. Days meandered into weeks, and the initial conversations, those threads of curiosity, concern, and occasional congratulatory notes, gradually subsided, replaced by a silence that felt both comfortable and slightly stifling. Tom navigated through his routine. Yet within him, a subtle change had occurred. A seed had sprouted, rooted in the liberation of that single evening when the hidden facets of his identity had been allowed to dance freely in the light. Lisa, observing from a distance, allowed Tom the space to process, to explore the silent corridors within himself without pressure or expectation. Yet beneath her quiet observation lingered a question, one that gently prodded at her with each passing day. Then one day, as they sat on her porch, the golden hues of the setting sun casting a warm, gentle glow across the horizon. Lisa turned to him, her voice soft and considerate. "Tom, do you think about that night?" Tom, gazing into the distance, where the sun kissed the world goodnight, nodded, a whisper of vulnerability caressing his words. "Every day, Lisa." Lisa, her eyes reflecting the warmth of the sun, gently prodded. "Would you like to do it again? Explore more?" Tom turned towards her, the emotions swirling within him, glistening in his eyes. "Yes, but it's complicated, Lisa." Understanding flickered through Lisa. "I know, Tom. But remember, this is your journey, and I'm here, walking alongside you, however you choose to proceed." Gratitude, profound and unspoken, lingered in Tom's smile. "Thank you, Lisa." Days later, they found themselves once again within the sanctuary of Lisa's bedroom, a space that had witnessed the gentle unfurling of Tom's hidden self. This time, the atmosphere was different, tinged with a quiet understanding, an unspoken acknowledgement of the significance of the journey upon which they were embarking. Tom, standing amidst the array of clothes, gently ran his fingers over the soft fabrics, each piece whispering of possibilities, of unexplored avenues, and silent stories waiting to be told. His hand settled on a dress, its fabric a gentle cascade of soft lavender, the nylon whispering of delicate dreams and silent wishes. Lisa, respecting his moment, remained silent, offering him the space to engage, to explore, to silently communicate with the unspoken desires that lingered within him. Tom, gently lifting the dress, turned towards her. "May I?" Lisa, her nod in affirmation of support, assisted him, helping him slip into the dress, its fabric caressing his skin with a gentleness that felt like a whisper across his being. The wig, a cascade of dark, gentle waves, followed, framing his face, and gently morphing his reflection into the person that had lingered in the shadows for far too long. The makeup, applied with a delicate, practiced hand, transformed his features, softening, enhancing, and gently bringing forth the reflection of the self that had, until recently, remained hidden, even from himself. Tom, gazing into the mirror, saw her, saw himself, an intertwining of selves that had battled silently within him for so long. He whispered, almost to himself, "Hello again." In that space, amidst the gentle cascade of nylon and the soft whispers of hidden truths, Tom found a sanctuary, a space where he could gently explore, discover, and honor the self that had, for so long, remained silent. Amidst the waves of fabric, the gentle palette of colors cascading through the room, Tom found himself enshrouded in a spectrum of emotions that blended into the atmosphere like an ethereal, silent melody. His reflection, a combination of vulnerability, strength, and the gentle acceptance of his dual existence, gazed back at him through the mirror. The wig, its strands softly cascading down his shoulders, framed his face with a gentle assurance, while his makeup, subtle, yet transformative, whispered of the silent, beautiful journey ahead. Lisa perched gently on the edge of the bed, watched with a quiet pride, her support unwavering, yet unobtrusive, providing Tom with the space to explore, to understand, and to gently reconcile with the being within him. They didn't speak, not initially, allowing the silence to communicate the depth of emotions that words often struggled to convey. Tom, his fingers gently tracing the soft nylon of the dress, lifted his gaze, locking eyes with Lisa through the mirror. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice a gentle blend of gratitude, recognition, and understanding. Lisa, moving forward, placed a gentle hand upon his shoulder. "You don't need to thank me, Tom. Just being here, witnessing your journey, it's a privilege." In the days that followed, their friendship evolved, weaving through a tapestry that was now enriched with understanding, acceptance, and an unspoken tie that bound them in a beautiful, silent kinship. Tom, gradually allowing the tendrils of his hidden self to weave into his everyday existence, found in Lisa a confidant, a support, and a mirror that reflected back to him the acceptance he was gradually learning to extend to himself. One sunny afternoon, As they strolled through the city, the world around them pulsating with life energy and the myriad of narratives that intertwined to create the beautiful chaos of existence, Lisa gently nudged Tom, her voice a whisper. How about we spend a day exploring the world as us, just as we are, without masks, without fear? Tom, pausing, felt a kaleidoscope of emotions vying for expression within him. There was fear, undoubtedly, but also a simmering excitement, a desire to step out into the light, unburdened by expectations, unrestrained by fear. After moments of silent contemplation, he nodded. Let's do it, Lisa. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.